Once upon a time, there was a boy named Jacob. He and his family just recently shifted to a new house. A new house was close to his father's new office. He was studying at college. He didn't had many friends. One day he and his friend Lucas was discussing some stories regarding his new town. Lucas was telling Jacob that the house his parents bought recently was not in the good place and some bad incident was happened to those people who lived around at that house or street. Lucas told Jacob that at midnight, many people heard knocking on their door, but when they went to check it, no one was there at the door. People are saying that the place is cursed or evil or something more mysterious, but not everyone was facing these issues, so it is up to you to believe it or not. Jacob ignored all these things which Lucas was telling him, and he told Lucas that he and his family was living there and nothing happened yet, so he would stay fine. Soon after some time, Jacob's exam was coming and he started to get busy. One day his parents want to go to his aunt's house, so they told him to come home early from school, but he decided not to go with them because he had to do study for upcoming exams, so he decided that he will say no to his parents. When he was coming from college with his friend Lucas, they found a dirty book on the road. The book was not in the condition to read, so Jacob took out his tissue and started to clean it. After a while they opened the book. The first page was blank, but soon after they started to turn the pages, they found scary pictures written with red ink with some dial line numbers. They both become shocked. They wanted to see more, but they both was getting late, so Lucas told Jacob that he will come to his house at night and we will then see what more is inside in this book and what to do with it. Jacob was alone at that night in the house because his parent was going to his aunt's house. He was waiting for his friend Lucas. His house was far away from the service area. There was no one around his house, not any neighbor too. He waited for Lucas, but when Lucas was not coming up, so he decided to open the book by himself. When Jacob started to read the book, suddenly his phone rang. So he went to pick his phone. It was an unknown number. Immediately the phone stops ringing. There was so much horrible drawing of weird people with some ancient language. All those red inks was so disgusting. All of a sudden a page fall out from that book. When he picked up that page, something was written on that paper, but the words was in some other language. So he decided to use the translator. When he translated it, he become scared, because on that page it was written that, "Don't open this book or read this book." His body temperature was turning into coldness after reading this. After then suddenly he heard a knock on his doorstep. So he strengthened himself and went to open the door, but what he found that nobody was there. So after then he closed and locked the door and went upstairs to his room. He sat down on the chair and started to think. All he was thinking about Lucas, what he told him about this place in the book. But after thinking a lot, he found no connection between this place and the book, because this book was found near his college, not near his house. But about the knocking he was not sure. After a while he thought about the dial number that are present inside that book. He thought, maybe this book belongs to someone and maybe I will find his or her number in this book. He started to turn pages and found some numbers. Most of the dial number was unrecognizable, but some was. So he started to dial a number from that book. The first number he dialed was named by Alexa. He called on that number and nobody was picking up. After some minutes rings, a woman picked up the phone and say, "Hello." Jacob also say hello nervously. The woman said, "Who are you and what do you want?" Jacob asked the woman that, "Do you know any girl with the name Alexa?" The woman took some time and said yes. After then Jacob told her, "Can I talk with her?" The woman started to cry and told Jacob that Alexa was my daughter, and she is dead from past 7 years. After hearing that, he suddenly dropped his phone and promptly the light went out. He became more scared. He locked his room and opened mobile flashlight. After some minutes he heard that someone is opening the basement door. He then starting to call his friend Lucas. But Lucas was not answering. After a while he heard the noise of someone footsteps coming from the basement. That someone was coming to his room from the basement. His heart was feeling afraid with the footsteps noise. Suddenly the footsteps sound stopped at his room door. He was unable to move because he was so afraid. After some minutes Lucas started to call him on phone. He picked the call of Lucas and started talking silently. Lucas told Jacob that sorry he just misplaced his phone, that's why he was unable to attend phone call. But Lucas told him that he is 5 minutes away from his house, soon he will be there. Jacob told Lucas that someone is in his house. And that person is standing behind my room door. Lucas told him that don't worry, I will be there in few minutes, until then you just call 911 and report. After then Jacob disconnected the call with Lucas and started to call 911. But no one was picking up the call. After some time there was a knock on his house door. First he thought that he shouldn't had to go downstairs for opening the door. But after then he thought that maybe Lucas had arrived, so I should go downstairs to open the door. He opened his room door to see if his path is clear or not. He wanted to see that the person whose he heard footsteps are gone or not. He looked around a lot but couldn't find that person. Someone was still knocking his house door. All of a sudden one of the room in front of him started to open. He ran fast as he could. He opened the house main door, but what he saw that no one was there. He got out from the house and started to wait for his friend to arrive. He was afraid to go back inside that house. Time was passing but his friend didn't show up. After some time he started to hear a sound of his mobile that was inside the house. He thought maybe 911 people are calling him. But he was afraid to go back inside of that house. There was no electricity in the house. The stranger was also present inside the house too. But he have to pick up the call before it get disconnect, and also picking up the call will get him help. So he strengthened himself and went to the house. He went upstairs quietly and picked the call. The call was from 911. So he told them everything. They told him to not to take any tension. Just lock his room and stay safe. One of our officer will there soon to check on you. He did what they told him to do. After 5 to 10 minutes, he again started to hear sound from the basement. But at this time he was not hearing any footsteps sound. He was hearing that someone is smashing things in basement. He thought maybe I can lock that person inside the basement, so when the officers will come they can arrest that person. Jacob quietly went down to the basement and he saw a shadow of a person sitting on the rocking chair. The chair sound was so creepy, but he was unable to see that person's face. He was so scared. Immediately he locked the basement. Suddenly moving chair stopped. After then he went upstairs to his room. He called his parents and told them everything what happened to him. They told him that we are coming as soon as possible. You just stay safe. After then he heard someone was coming upstairs. And he became shocked by seeing that Lucas was laughing and smiling. Lucas told him that he did prank with him. Lucas told him everything, that how he turned off Jacob's house electricity. How he and his few friends leave that book lying on the road. Alexa number was also not real. He forced her friend to talk with you like a old woman. After hearing all this Jacob became angry and told Lucas that he told everything to his parents. He also informed 911. Now when the police officers will come, what I will tell him. Lucas apologized to him and told Jacob that I will tell the police officer and the parents that it was all my fault. Once again Lucas asked forgiveness from Jacob. Jacob forgive him and told him not to do these kind of pranks again. After then Jacob told Lucas that you scared me a lot and the basement prank was too much scary for me. But Lucas told Jacob that what are you saying? I didn't do the basement prank. Jacob told Lucas to stop lying. He told Lucas that I know you was sitting in the chair in the basement and I didn't know that how you were able to get out of the basement because I locked it. Lucas told him that he didn't do any of things you are saying. Lucas told him more that yes, I turn off the electricity from the outside of the house. After then right now I came in your house from the basement. But it was not locked and I didn't saw any person there. The basement was already opened. After listening all of this, Jacob asked Lucas that if you was not the one whose footsteps I heard coming from the basement, and if you are not the person who I saw sitting on the chair, then who was it? After all of this, all of a sudden Jacob's room door started to open slowly, and what they saw was a mysterious figure heading towards them and laughing so loudly that they both just become dead on the spot. After an hour, police officers and Jacob's parent arrived home and they saw both children dead on his room. The doctor said that the cause of death was fear, but they couldn't figure it out that what they saw, or what happened to them. The only thing they figured it out that the book may be the cause. But we all know that book wasn't the cause. Something else is present inside of that house, something more mysterious and scary.